What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to episode number 144 of Park to Prem here with Town Town. Today we resume our World Cup campaign. We are playing against France. It's still a very early stage in the tournament. I believe it's the round of 32, or is it the round of 16? It's the round before the quarterfinals. There's lots of teams still in the competition. We've been drawn against one of the top 5 teams in the world. So expect that to be a fun little challenge to start things off today. And if we win that, we will also do the following game. Before we get into that, however, one thing I do want to talk about, and it's something that was brought up by a few people in the comments, is how have our players been doing at the World Cup? Now, unfortunately, there's not an easy way for me to show you this because I can go to the international report screen. However, the issue here is that there are players playing for the under-21 national teams. You can see here, there's players like Maticevic, who I don't believe Bosnia qualified for the World Cup. So as a result, he's listed here, but he hasn't played at a World Cup. So there's no real easy way to see who's done what at the World Cup. You can see here, for example, Auger not playing for France either, which is a bit of a shame. I will say, if we were to just look at... I guess, is there a way to sort by... There must be a way to sort by when the goals happened or something, surely. Dates, here we go, this is what we want to look at. You can see Brazil still in the World Cup, Soretta, Andre and Aurelio all playing in those games. You can see actually, Soretta and Andre had some pretty good games. Andre on off the bench to get a 7.0. But yeah, there's a load of players here. Some of them have played in World Cups, the likes of Hendrik Ankersen Lange. That's definitely not how you say his name. We'll just call you Henry. Why not? He's like Kumwenda, but the Danish version. And he's a left back, so he's not like Kumwenda at all. 18 years old though, playing at a World Cup. Great experience for him. It's worth noting, actually, there's a few players in our under-23s who have been playing at the World Cup. Players like Ahazamani, who, to be honest, probably won't make it in the first team now, but nevertheless, at 20 years old, had a year on loan at West Ham. Great to see him playing a World Cup, and of course we did bump into him during the group stage. Some of our own players also appearing here. You can see the likes of Dlamini playing for South Africa, who actually got knocked out of their group slightly surprisingly. Makassi also involved in that. Davronov, a player who we've talked about very briefly. He's playing for Uzbekistan at the World Cup. Yes, Uzbekistan got to the World Cup. I believe they lost every single game, bless them. If we have a quick look here at the overview, a few people asked about this kind of last episode. You know, what teams qualified for the World Cup. So just have a look at it here because, of course, this is the expanded 48-team format. There are some fairly unusual nations here. Uzbekistan, I guess, for one. Bulgaria qualifying out of their group. You can see here, I'm trying to see if there's any other weird ones. I guess Syria's a little bit odd. Guinea, perhaps. The fact that Canada made it out their group, although it is the 3-team group format, could perhaps be viewed as a surprise. But yeah, that's what's been happening there. It's unfortunate that there's not an easier way for me to show you kind of where our own players lie. I guess we could look at team player overview and see if there's any familiar faces here. You can see Dylan Turnbull up there for key headers. You'll have to see that. Of course, a lot of these players highlighted are just our own players. In terms of appearances, Vlasic leading the way. A fair few real players actually looking at it here. Gravenberch de Ligt, Ununvar. I guess the Netherlands are riding off one last golden generation. They will be hoping to go quite far in this competition, I imagine. And they've been drawn against Germany. So that's a really big game there. Spain v Croatia is pretty nasty as well. There's some big games in the next round. In fact, that's the next round. So what were kind of the latecomers here? What were the other results in the third round, which is the round that we are in here? So Brazil v USA, you've got Portugal v Denmark, Colombia v Mexico. So the Germans beat Argentina, Spain beat Uruguay. Wow, those are some pretty huge games. And Italy knocked out by Croatia. Wow, okay, there's some fairly big nations that have been knocked out there. I guess with this expanded format, in the second round, a lot of the weaker teams just got knocked out quite convincingly, it would seem. We're not going to have some crazy unknown team, I don't think, from this list coming out of nowhere and going really far. I guess Denmark going as far as they are is pretty impressive, and we could end up playing them today if they can beat Portugal, although, if I'm not mistaken, Portugal are very high in the world rankings. So should we win the first game of today's episode against France, who are 5th in the world, we will then take on the team joint 3rd with us, which is Portugal or Denmark, but it's probably going to be Portugal. But anyway, let's not dwell on things too much. As I said, it's a little bit difficult to go into too much detail with how Taulor players have been doing, but they have been making their mark at the World Cup, particularly the Brazilians. In terms of the team for today's game, obviously we tactically rested a few players. Chris Turner at right back is a little bit tired. And with that in mind, I'm tempted to bring in Finn Smith and play him at right back. He is left-footed, he is more naturally a left back, I suppose, but I think he's a pretty good player to slot in. Just wondering about more player general fitness. But to be honest, it looks like for the most part, the fitness isn't too bad. Condition is never really going to be ideal. I guess Sancho we could maybe look to drop. He's definitely not as irreplaceable as he once was. Because he has lost that edge of pace. I mean, if we compare actually Bellingham and Sancho, it might even be the case that Bellingham is a little bit better than Sancho at this point. And, I mean, you can see here, they're quite different players, but Bellingham in a game where we might need to defend a little bit more might be a bit more useful out on the left. Just wonder if I want to make any other late changes. But you know what? On the whole, I'm pretty happy and content with this team that we have. It's not too dissimilar to the game that played that last game against Australia. Worth noting, we are playing this 4-4-2 system. This is a 4-4-2 system that I have played throughout my entire time as England manager so far. Of course, it's a system that when we used at Towlaw, struggled against fellow big teams, and whilst it's done a job for us, I guess, qualifying for this World Cup and in the earlier stages, this, in truth, is going to be one of the first real times where this formation and system is tested, against a really big club and one of the big favourites. Worth noting, that you can see here they've got a few players left who are real players at the start of the game, like Medjbury, who has fantastic hair, it's got to be said. Todibo as well, who I believe starts at Barcelona, if I'm not mistaken. Indeed, he does. Very, very good centre-back at 34 years old. He is pretty nasty. And alongside him, they've got Payen. How quick are their centre-backs? I was hoping they were going to have a pace weakness, but having now seen Payen, I can see why Jackie Auger might not be in this France national team. They're quite good. Up top, they have got Lopez, who is 23 years old, PSG striker. He's good. He's not great. I mean, how does he compare to Norman? Because I feel like he is pretty similar. I mean, when you look at it like that, I would say Norman has the edge, but I'll let you draw your own opinions. But this is going to be a huge game for us. We are taking on France. It's the World Cup third round, and we are at the Seongnam Community Stadium in Seongnam. So it's a 7 o'clock kickoff. It's an exciting game. I'm a little bit scared for France. We have beef with them. They knocked us out of the last Euros before I was manager. 2 years ago, they knocked us out on the big stage here. We now, as England, have a chance to bounce back, a chance to get some revenge. And we also had a chance in the Nations League after the Euros where I was in charge and we didn't do very well against them then. Let's see if we've learnt from that. Let's see how we've grown, how we've bedded through the youngsters who have come in. I mean, with players like Ashley Walker on the pitch, you just believe that anything is possible, really. Anyway, Smith, dinking it wide. Not the best ball, of course. Smith, a bit of a, not necessarily controversial addition to the team, but a late squad change just because Turner was tired at right back. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on playing right back despite being more naturally suited to that left-hand side. And while speaking of the devil, here he is on his left foot, sticking it in the box. Bellingham heads it wide. And for a second you thought the two players we brought in, the two late swaps in the team were going to benefit us. Unfortunately, they've let us down a little bit with their finishing. And, Fry has now got injured. That is not a good injury because Fry is very, very good. So Smith's going to go to left back, and then Turner, I'm sorry mate, I know you were hoping for a rest, you're not getting a rest. Worth noting, just comparing the condition of the two squads, I would say that France are just a little bit more tired. There's not a great deal of difference in it, but maybe that could play into our favour as the game goes on. Of course, being forced into an early sub is less than ideal, and while we could have a chance, Turnbull threaded through, and he can't find the target. The first clear-cut chance of the game. The pressure of a nation. The expectations of a nation on his shoulders. And he skewed it wide. Against one of the great enemies of England, France. Maybe another chance here, though. Norman to Turner. On off the bench. Whips it in. Turnbull not there for the header. Although back to Turnbull. Nods it down to Hall, who can hit it. Oh, my word, Ali Hall. Oh, my word. He loves a long shot. He's got another for us. A centre-attacking mid turned centre-mid for England. And I'll tell you what, he's been saving our bacon quite a lot. What a superb, unorthodox strike this was. He hits it with bend. But he just keeps it so low, that's just cutting through the grass. And past the keeper into that bottom corner. Superbly placed. We're a goal up after half an hour. And the French right now, they are on the ropes. They are not playing particularly well at all. Although they have the quality and one chance is all they really need. As Chekri runs forward. Alvin John, though, in goal. I mean, with a name like Alvin, he was destined for stardom, wasn't he? Let's be honest. Alvin is the name of stars. And I think we've got a star in Alvin John here. He's going to save some penalties at some point in this competition. I'm ready for them. Anyway, Turnbull, Jude Bellingham, fresh off well, the bench really, not as in he's been subbed on here, but in terms of he's had a bit of a rest going into this game. Sancho and him quite interchangeable. And when it falls to Turnbull, who's got to score that, Dylan. I mean, if only we could sub him off and bring on Shvetsov, it would be lovely. Second clear-cut chance of the game, second clear-cut chance missed, although maybe a chance here. Norman's header cleared away by Todibo. We are knocking on the door. Knocking on the door makes it sound polite. We're not knocking on the door, we're pounding on the door. Bashing it with the back of our fist, saying, hey, France, let us in. The first half drawn to a close, and I'll tell you what, there's not a great deal to separate the teams on the scoreline, but I would say in terms of what we've seen on the pitch and the football that's been on display, we've been better than them. We have been better than them. The question is, can we get that second goal? Can we do that? Because I feel like with this system, we're set up to score more goals than the opposition. We've had the chances, we've just not taken them, and I do fear that a one-goal lead is a slightly precarious lead. Hall and Turnbull linking up nicely. Turnbull willing to drop into these deeper areas during the build-up play, which works really nicely. Watson fouled surely on Turnbull. Referee. He gives the penalty. Ali Hall's on it. Is he the best penalty taker? Debatably. But I'm giving it to Dylan. Why am I doing this? I'm setting myself up for failure. Dylan Turnbull, I'm putting my faith in you, son. You've come for our academy. I've hand-reared you as my own. He's missed it. He's actually blooming missed it. Why did I do it? I'm sorry, Ali. I'm sorry. I should have learned from my mistakes. I thought penalties, you know. He scored one in the Champions League final. He's the man for England at a World Cup. And his confidence is shot. And now we're gone and I'm going to haul him off. We're going to bring in David Mahon, I think. Oh, Norman's not had a good game either. I could make the double change. I could take the two Towler lads off for two Manchester United lads. I mean, that's a storyline, isn't it? Watson whipping it in to the box and Mahon fresh off the bench headers agonisingly wide. That was so close. Chance after chance after chance. If you were hoping for a nice, boring, 2-3-0 win, it's not really playing out that way at the moment. Although we do feel like the team most likely to score. It's just that eternal fear, although Tessier is about to get sent off. And France, they might be in trouble. They might be in danger. They have switched to a 4-3-1-1 system. And you know what? With that in mind, I am willing to tell the wing-backs to get a little bit further forward. And we will just tell Watson just to drop deeper a little bit more. But they're sacrificing their wide midfielders. I want to double up on their full-backs. 15 minutes left in this game. It remains 1-0 and I want to capitalise on the man advantage now. I want us to get the goal that should make this all safe and done. And well, you can see here this doubling up in the wide area. Smith, time to whip it in. Had perhaps time, to take another touch, bring it closer to goal. Elected to go early, but you can see this build-up play in the wide areas is definitely there with the complete wing-backs on attack. And then playing this narrower system. On this occasion, though, the French defence deal with it and they go back to Watson. Now with Lemmer. We go again. Declan Rice. What an experienced player to have in a game like this. Over 180 caps and Lemmer's giving it away. Declan, I know you're old. I know you're tired, but I need you to help us. And, well, Lopez misses it. I want to believe that Declan Rice has shouted boo or, some kind of distraction behind the striker there for him to miss that opportunity. France gifted by Lemmer an opportunity, and maybe that's a warning that this game isn't over. They might be down a man, but they are still dangerous. And, well, Kylian Lopez scores. And there is going to be questions now about whether or not I made the right decision to go more attacking. I think it made sense to, but hindsight is a wonderful thing. Let's go back to our normal tactic. And immediately a highlight. I mean, Walker. Switching it from one wing to another. It's 1-1. There's 7 minutes left. Can we respond immediately? Can we get that immediate reply against the 10 men of France? Trying to win the ball high up the pitch here. And actually working it round really nicely, France. They've got a spring in their step. They've got confidence. Lemmer made one mistake that didn't lead to a goal. Got left the hook. On that occasion, did okay. And while Walker through, record England goal scorer, hits it into the side netting. I'm nervous now. Why did I put Turnbull on the penalty? What was I thinking? We're going to extra time. We're going to extra time. We've been all over them. And I'm not happy, boys. I'm not happy. Do we get an extra sub in extra time? I didn't do a team talk there either. I'm panicking. I'm on the ropes, folks. Can I bring in... So I can bring in Sancho, but do I get one more sub? No. Right, Jaden. Listen here, mate. 34 years old. Superb player for England. Over 170 caps. You may even beat Rice to the most caps for England. But when people look back on your career, they're going to go, what did he do at the 2034 World Cup? You know, when he was the experienced player, when he was in the twilight of his England career, did he help them in the World Cup? That's what the people are going to ask you, Jaden. I want you to give them the answer today. I want you to give the answer that you want to be able to reply with for a lifetime. Get us the goal. Get us the win. It's not going to plan. There's 15 minutes of this first half of extra time and absolutely nothing's happened. Although, hold the phone. Hold it. Smith. Tackled. I mean, that's not good, is it? Medjbury winning it. There's going to be tired legs on either team here as we approach extra time. Ali Hall with it. Switches it to Walker, who has a bruised shin. Takes it around his man, hits it, and it's a mirror of the chance he had at the end of the game. He smashes it into the side netting. Do I go very attacking? Do I say YOLO? I do say YOLO. We're going for it, everyone. If this goes to penalties, I'm going to be livid. They've got a set piece. Don't panic, everyone. Don't panic. I'm panicking. Why did I go very attacking? I mean, it's easy in hindsight, isn't it? We've been the better team. They're down a man. It's actually a disaster. I don't think there's any other way of looking at it. But we now need a roll of the dice. We need a hero. I'm calling out for a hero to the end of the night. They've got to be strong. Could it be Ali Hall? Could it be Walker? They've got to be... Is it fresh for the fight? I don't know the lyrics. I mean, the players can't hear me. It's fine. Right. All this fancy stuff that we're doing, nah. Lump it forward. Get it forward. Not distribution it at the back. Distribute quickly. Get it over the opposition. Let's give ourselves something to run onto. And press, boys. Press like you've never pressed before. I want pressing so good it could be on the Hydraulic Press YouTube channel. That's what we're after. I can't believe it's 2-1. I can't believe it. We've been the better team. Why did I put Dylan Turnbull on the penalty? Why did I do it? Why? Why did I believe that he was the man in that moment? There is 5 minutes left. I can do one last shout of demand more. Players are anxious. Players are tired. Boys, I need 5 minutes of magic. 5 minutes of magic. 1 minute of magic. There's no magic. Magic isn't real, folks. And neither is the World Cup dream. What a blooming awful game. Oh, I hate everything. I hate everything. The worst thing is now, because I've committed to doing the next game in this episode, I need to think about what we do now for the next 5 minutes so that people don't assume that we got knocked out after the first game looking at the video length. Oh, I'm so annoyed. I mean, I'm probably getting sacked. Oh, why did I put you on the penalty, Dylan? I thought 16 composure. You know, this big stage, he's going to be composed for it. He scored in a Champions League final. They even had a man sent off. Here's the thing. And I know there's going to be loads of comments telling me every single tactical decision that was wrong at the moment, it was wrong. You have the benefit of hindsight. I had to trust my gut and go with what made sense. And to me, when they switched to the narrower system, when they were down a man, it made more sense to go on the attack. You might be wondering why I'm trying to sign a player called Hemo Rihimaki. He's a subscriber. That's the reason we're trying to sign him. I know. It's probably not the best reason to sign a player. Oh, am I gonna... What are the FA saying? Oh. They can understand that we had a difficult draw, but an F? I mean, do we want to do a Euros? Do we want to keep on going? That speech I gave to Sancho. I turned to him, I said, Jaden, this is your moment. Leave a legacy. This is the legacy you're leaving, Jaden. I hope you're happy. Oh, I'm so upset. Oh, England still haven't won a World Cup. I thought I was the man to change things. Thought I was the chosen one. I'm not the chosen one. I'm just a very silly little boy. I feel bad for Concert because I can now focus on the club football. McCassie's work permit has been rejected. I mean, this is going well. You might have noticed player wages are going up this year. Might as well talk about this now. Why not? So with the Champions League success, the big issue that I'm having at Towler is that every player is getting a lot of interest and also wants a new contract. And unfortunately, I have had to accept the fact that I am going to have to start paying my players Champions League and top Premier League level money, even if it's a struggle to afford. So, as a result, you'll notice there's a few new big earners here at the club. I mean, Shvetsov perhaps on the contract he's deserved for a while. Mateus Aurelio got 20 assists last year from right back. I've had to give him 200 grand to get rid of his release clause, so that's gone well. We're still in the process of maybe negotiating one or two more, but our wage budget has already gone up by about £700,000. Which is less than ideal because we are spending over our wage budget and I can't put more money into the wages. The only silver lining here is I've got £300 million in the bank. That is off the back, if we just look here, of some pretty high-profile sales. Son Jung-woo, Kostic and Castro have left for some really good money. We've got further sales on the way. I will talk way more about this next episode, but for example, Blaine Neal is leaving for 17 million. Pizarro looks like he's going to be out the door for 20 million. So we are, generating funds. We've got loads of money in the bank, but there is this sudden need, I suppose, to start investing money quickly. It is perhaps worth noting, and I'm surprised that this isn't showing, I think Chelsea are due to start the league on minus points this year for breaking financial fair play. For some reason that is not showing here, but I'm pretty certain that will be a thing. I saw a news item for it. I even posted it in my Discord server. So I know that I'm not having some weird lucid dream where I dreamt about playing the save, although that does happen from time to time. Oh, I'm so upset that we've lost. I'm so upset. You might be wondering, I guess, in terms of signings, who are you looking to sign, Jack? Fantastic question. I don't really know what positions I want. I mean, the player that I'm looking at is a player I don't really need, but I want, which is Artola here. He plays for Real Madrid. He is injury prone, which is a bit of a concern, but he's not super injury prone. It's not surrounded in bright red. And he's a very blooming good pressing forward for 20 million. I don't really need another striker. Also, the lighting on his face is broken. Why has he got a flat face? Bless him. What's happened to his face? Maybe that's the injury. Maybe this is a sign that he's cursed and I shouldn't be signing him. My thinking was that we'll have him, we'll have Cancina, and then we'll have Norman be the sickest backup strike force in history. But maybe just Norman and Cancina can do the business for us. I think Cancina's going to be a really good striker. He's played it at international level for Argentina. He played it last year for Juventus from time to time. I guess he's the silver lining to look forward to in all of this. Oh, I'll tell you what, folks, I'll be honest. I really thought we were going to beat France at half-time in that game at a goal up. We played the better football, we were the better team, but that doesn't really mean anything. And I can talk all about how excited I am about Towler, but it's hard to mask the disappointment. And at this point, I'm filling you in on some useful stuff, but the reality is I am sat here talking so that people think that we made it to that next game. And I kind of just have to sit here and accept that we're not going to do that. And it sucks. It really, really sucks. Right. I would love to know your thoughts on the international management. I feel like it's a fun little distraction from time to time, but I know it's not as popular as the club series. That said, if there's enough of you who are like, yeah, I enjoy this change of pace, maybe we'll just keep going to the Euros and try and get some World Cup redemption for the narrative. Feel free to let me know your thoughts down below when it comes to the international management. I know it's not for everyone. I know some people go, it's boring. But I do feel like it's a fun change of pace and it's a nice way to see a little bit more about what's going on with the world. Potentially we just, jump forward to the next Euros and that's when we next do international episodes rather than, you know, doing all the qualifiers and stuff, because I appreciate that isn't particularly interesting. At the same time, I will admit, this is an absolute pain in the balls to have in a summer when I'm also trying to do loads of transfer business. So maybe I don't want to do another summer of this. Maybe I'm too hurt by what's happened, but at the same time, I feel like I owe the nation an apology and I need to make amends. Right, I'm going to end the episode here. I don't know why I feel so disappointed. I didn't think I cared, but clearly I do. We'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. I'll tweet out if we need a delay. I need to work out if I can get to next season now, which might be a bit of a challenge. Either way, keep an eye on Twitter. You'll find out more there as to whether or not there's an episode tomorrow. If there is, there is. If there isn't, enjoy your Fridays without me, and we'll be back for the weekend. Thank you for watching today. I'm so sorry to every England fan out there. Everyone who doesn't like England, feel free to celebrate this like it's real. That's fine with me. And I'll talk to you soon. Hopefully I feel better tomorrow. I'm going to go stuff my face with Jaffa Cakes. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out. I can't believe I've lost. I can't believe Dylan.